That could very well be it. Alright, we'll get another couple minutes and then I will get going. Can you guys hear me okay, or do I need to?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Good job. Can you hear?
With the 16-bone steel corset on. Actually, it's a little bit easier because you've got something to push against.
Yes.
But if you want to know about corsets, I can talk corsets too.
Well, you have to make it pretty, so when you do corset.
Oh, that is a pun. All right. Well then, I guess we get this party started. Hi, my name is Lori. I also go by Tokaz. I have been going to conventions for about 12 or 15 years. I've been going to this convention specifically for about 10 years. During that time, I have been a regular congoer. I'm a panelist. I have sold in the Artist Alley. I've sold in the Dealer's Den. I do semi-competitive cosplay. So I have done a lot of things involved in this convention. And so I am just here to talk about, I'm sorry if I'm sighing, it is the corset. I am here to just talk about some of the things I picked up and how what I did when I was forming this panel was talk to all my friends and what they wish they had known when they were getting started in conventions. So this is sort of a crowdsourced document. I'm going to break it up into about 3 or 4 sections. I'm going to talk about how to take care of yourself, things you can do to take care of the people around you who you're with. I'm going to talk about things you can do at the conventions, the panels, Artist Alley, keep wanting to say Makerspace, Dealer's Den, things like that. I'm going to talk specifically about fursuits and costumes, both wearing and taking pictures. Hello!
Hello, this is Sky Harbor, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, first convention, tips and tricks. We're just getting into the introduction. Please sit forward. I do not bite. You have to ask anybody else. They will only bite if you ask them. Anyway, we're just going over sort of the format of my talk. I'm going to hopefully talk for about 35 to 40 minutes. Does anyone have a pocket device which can keep time? Yeah, and would be willing to time me?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. How much? Like half an hour or?
I think she's got it here.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah. So you want 35 minutes?
Yep, if you could give me like a 5-minute warning.
Like, hey, here's what it is.
Because I have far more material than I can possibly cover in an hour, and I want to make sure I reserve time for questions.
Cool.
So if you have a question, you are welcome to just go.
Alright.
Yes.
Start like now?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm in my junior year of high school. I'm doing a year-long research project on furries, misconceptions on furries.
Yes.
I was
I should probably just not. I should, if I'm gonna take a video, I'll just look in it down here.
So you're doing a research project on furries?
And so one thing is that there aren't teen demographics. So I thought that also it hasn't been done since like 2004 to 2008. So I was wondering if anybody would like to interview. And like if you're like
Okay, so you want to know if anybody here would like to be interviewed. Okay, we will save that for afterwards? Yes? Okay. If you are interested in being interviewed for a research project about teens and furry fandom, talk to Nina after the panel. All right. right, so we're good on time? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to break this panel into a few sections. I'm going to talk about taking care of yourself. I'm going to talk about taking care of other people around you at the convention. I'm going to talk about things you can do at the convention, the panels, Artist Alley, Dealer's Den, things like that. I am going to also talk specifically about fursuits and costumes, wearing them, interacting with them, things like that. If I have time, I'll go over some safety issues. And pretty much anything else you could possibly want to ask about, I probably have in my document here. This is my first time with a PowerPoint. I managed to slip through school without ever having to do a PowerPoint. I'm old. That's how. Hello! We're just getting started. First convention, tips and tricks. So this is a very boring PowerPoint. You do not need to pay attention to it if you don't want to. I have informational handouts at the end. I don't know how to do that. This is literally my first time. What was that?
Once you do find out about them, you'll like use everything away.
Hey, I put a content thing on PowerPoint. That's great. I don't even know what I have in here. Anyway, we're going to start with talking about taking care of yourself. And if you take nothing else out of this panel, I want you to remember the 6-2-1 rule. That is 6 hours of sleep, 2 meals a day, 1 shower per day per person. This is like the bare minimum for keeping a human body functioning and not sick. Because we don't want you sick. If you get sick, you will get everybody else sick and we will all be unhappy. So it is in your best interest to keep yourself healthy, and it's also in your best interest to make sure everyone around you stays healthy. And what do we mean by sleep, meals, and shower? So sleep is 6 continuous hours, if you can manage it, in a bed, in a real bed, if you can manage it. I know sometimes things get weird, but 6 continuous hours in a bed. That's not too badly broken up. Meals are full meals, hot if you can manage it, multiple food groups. Chips and Pop-Tarts do not count as multiple food groups. They do not count as meals in this case. You want to go to one of the many restaurants we have around here. Actually, the hotel restaurants, they're a little pricey, but they are good, and you get a lot of good filling food. And they will have multiple food groups. They will have vegetables and meats and starches. There's also a decent number of restaurants in walking area. If you don't want to do something that costs money, you can bring food. I have like PB&J in my hotel room, and that is also a good meal if that's what you have. And then the shower. The shower is, again, for you and for all of us, because smells magnify when you're spending time in enclosed spaces like this. But also it's a stress thing. If you are stressed, your immune system cannot function as well, and so you are more likely to get sick. So if you're skipping showers, you're stressing yourself out. Shower is also a good time to take stock of your body, because knowing what's going on with your body is also especially important at a convention. One of my tips for showers is look at your feet. I know it sounds weird, but you are on your feet so much, especially at this convention where you are going through those skyways all the time, back and forth. You can check your step counter. You're doing probably double at least what you would normally do in a day. And sometimes you don't notice it while you're going, and there's so much going on. But a shower is a time to take a breath, de-stress, check your feet, see if you've got any blisters, take care of your blisters, so you can go out and be fully there for the convention the next day. All right, 6-2-1 rule, which leads into, I need to remember to do that. There we go. So, taking care of yourself. This is, again, you want to stay healthy because 1, we don't want disease vectors walking around our convention. 2, you want to be able to get the most out of your convention, and you only do that when you're healthy. So you are going to be doing a lot of walking. You will be doing, that's my dehydration, because you're going to dry out. This is dry air. It's moving around a lot. You're going ee all the time and running around and sweating. And if you're in any kind of costume piece, like my wig, like my corset, I am sweating more than I normally would standing up in front talking to people, because I'm wearing things that are covering me and preventing me from losing heat. So however much water you think you need to drink more. Way more than that. Like, you need to just push water on yourself, especially if you're fursuiting. You will sweat like a pig and you will dehydrate very easily. Dehydration can sneak up on you. That's why I've got some of those signs up there. I think I've got, what else? Low blood sugar, because you need to remember to eat. If you are having trouble thinking or deciding, or you're standing there going, that can be low blood sugar. You lose processing power when your blood sugar drops. So the 621 rule says meals, but if you're just going anywhere, get some food in you. Before you decide the convention is horrible, your life is horrible, everything is terrible, you have to go home. Eat something. And there are options available here at Con for quick calorie boosts. We've got a great Con suite. It's also called the Zoo. That is an area, I'm pointing this direction because it's like one floor up in the ballroom over there. It's just tables where you can hang out. They usually have tablecloths that you can draw on, and that's really fun. But it also has free soda, free apples, oranges, and some kind of like cheap, starchy, junky food. And that's just for anybody. You've purchased a badge at the convention, you can go into the zoo and get a quick snack. The zoo food is not a meal. And that's where, if you've heard other people talking about Pop-Tarts are not a meal. Historically, they used to have Pop-Tarts in the zoo for people to take. I don't think they can afford 10,000 people's worth of Pop-Tarts anymore, but that's where that comes from. Also, Pop-Tarts are not a meal. Yes, inserts. I'm going to be old. Inserts are your friend. Like the best ones that you can get. I've got fancy pants ones in these finally after years of just being unable to walk at the end of a convention. They will save your life. Let's see, quiet time, which is the other big thing. There's a lot going on here, and even if you are not used to, even if you normally don't get weirded out by things going on around you. There's just so much, and it's so different from like a regular day-to-day life that you can start getting stressed out and overstimulated. And in that case, we have a quiet room this year, which is really awesome. It is one floor down from here. I was just in it. It's great. It's so quiet. I didn't need my earplugs. And it's got like little things to do. But if you are somewhere else in the convention and you don't have access to a quiet room, just ducking in a panel can be a good way to get away from the sort of press of noise that is out there in the public areas. It is almost always going to be quieter here in a panel because you've got one or two people up front and everybody else more or less listening. I also like out-of-the-way bathrooms. Most of the bathrooms here at this convention have a little like ante-room where you can put a mirror and you're supposed to like do your hair and junk, but it's quiet. Because nobody's talking in the bathroom, right? They shouldn't be. So if I need to just get away from things for a little bit, I will duck into a restroom in a corner somewhere and just take a few minutes to recenter and breathe and then go back out again. Knowing what happens to you when you are starting to get overstimulated is important. Those are some like general signs. Let's see. Yes. If you are
Can
sick.
you go back for a second?
I'm sorry?
Just
Go back? So yes, the other thing is if you are sick or think you are getting sick before the convention, the recommendation is always stay home. That is the 100% way to not be the typhoid Mary at the convention and get everyone sick. but I know that is not always an option. So if you are sick and won't stay home, please do what you can to minimize your disease vectorness for the rest of us. That means don't share food, don't share drinks, don't share makeup. You shouldn't be sharing makeup anyway. Wash your hands constantly. Hand sanitizer, I've got like 3 different things of hand sanitizer on my bag. Use those before you touch other people. Use them before you eat, before you touch your face. There are face masks you can get, either the disposable ones or you can get some of the fashiony ones that have an insert in them to filter out things. I got one for a plane flight recently. And yeah, it's a little weird. It's a little weird on a plane of normals. It's not so weird here, and it will keep you from making everyone else sick.
Like, you mean those medical masks?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Medical masks, yes. There are some like fashion ones that are kind of in style, especially with like J-rock and Japanese stuff, because Japanese has a culture of just wearing those masks. If you don't want to be sick, if you're having a bad face day, you know, just for whatever reason. So there's a lot more of that over there. And some of it bleeds over here. And your devices. Also, charge your devices before you leave. Bring a charger with you. If you want everyone in your room to love you forever, bring a power strip. Even if every single person in the room brings a power strip, you will still have 4 power strips and no one will need to look for an outlet. So, like, room MVP is whoever has the power strip. Let's see, taking care of others. And the biggest thing about this is just accepting the word no. Just let other people be happy. Like, if do not offer critique unless you are specifically asked for critique. Let them be happy even when they're wearing stupid things. Let them be happy when they're happy about stupid things. It's okay. You do not have to go up to someone and say, hey, that thing you think is great, I think sucks. That's not the way you do it. If someone comes up to you and says, what do you think about thing? Well then, that would be a chance for you to critique it. But do not say someone is, say, too fat to wear a costume or too skinny to wear a costume or not the right color to wear a costume. Those are critiques and those are not welcome from strangers. If you're their best friend, I don't know. I probably wouldn't say those things to my best friend, but at least there is a connection there where hopefully they would be able to tell me I was being a jerk if I told them they shouldn't wear something. When you're just with strangers, there's no connection and it hurts and it's no fun and it brings the convention down. So, yeah, if you have to snark to a friend outside of the earshot of what caused the snarking. Text someone who's not at the convention if you absolutely have to comment on, oh my god, what is she wearing? Someone who is not at the convention, because that way it won't affect the people here. There's no reason to harsh someone's squeak just so that you can tell them they suck. Okay. The other thing, yes. Well, yes, if they're breaking laws, you should definitely go to security. I've got IRT on there because that is from a different convention. There it is. Accept no for an answer. Let people refuse you. We are very friendly in furry fandom, but not everybody likes to be touched. Not everybody wants to be talked to when you come up to talking to them. If you can, you are more than welcome to ask for a hug, but if someone says no, and even if all they say no with is the body, if they go like this, if they lean back, crossed arms, tight posture, leaning away from you, those are all negatives. That is someone who does not want to be there. I guarantee you there will be someone else here who wants that hug. Just let people say no. You don't have to say anything about it. You don't have to try and convince them of anything. If they don't want a picture, move on. Just this and the 621 rule will get you through most conventions. Remember to take care of yourself. Remember to let people say no and let people be happy. And that is If you take nothing else out of this, those are the big ones. All right, costumes. This is more my personal area of expertise because I am a semi-competitive cosplayer. So this is going to be, I'm going to be talking about costumes in general. Everything I say for a costume in general also affects fursuits in particular. Okay, so do not touch cosplayers without asking. Do not touch cosplay props without asking. Do not flying tackle hug cosplayers ever. This is a thing. It's not so much a thing anymore, thank God. But it was in style for a while for people to just run up to you and jump on you and hug you. I was in a full ball gown. I had a hoop, I had 2 petticoats, I had 3-inch heels. I was down on my knees looking at an artist's table. Off the side, I hear, "Princess Celestia!" And I turn and there's like, she's 23, I guess, running at me, tackles me. I go over. I'm lucky I did not go over onto the artist's table, and I did not break anything, but that can and has happened to people from flying tackle hugs. So don't.
Wait, if you were to kill them with that, does that technically count as homicide or something like that?
Probably be manslaughter, but that is outside the purview of this outside the purview of this panel. So also in this, again, do not critique costumes without being specifically asked. That includes hotness level. Do not, "Hey, I would have sex with you," is not the compliment you think it is. Also, "Hey, I would never have sex with you," falls under the "don't make people unhappy." They are not good compliments no matter what you think. It happens, believe me. Okay, ask before taking pictures. Sometimes you are running to the bathroom and you do not have time for a photo. I think just especially with fursuits, they might be going towards a headless lounge. They might be having a heat issue. So if especially a fursuiter waves off a photo, do not hassle them about it. Just let them go. Let's see. Ask before taking pictures. You do not have to actually say, "Can I take your picture with a fursuiter?" They might not be able to hear you anyway. Most people will recognize just like taking out your camera and waggling it and looking hopeful, or the picture sign. That is enough for most people to convey that you want to take a picture. If you do weird things like also have a doll you want in the photo, you do have to explain that. But when taking a photo, be aware of the area around you. Try to move out of the flow of traffic. We have a lot of narrow hallways, especially in the Skyway, and it is perfectly okay to see someone passing and go, "Hey, can I get a picture?" But you need to then look and find a junction where 2 or 3 corridors meet where you can pull out of the flow of traffic, or you as the photo taker walk with the person so they can get where they're going and then find an open spot. That is best practices for this particular convention, but in general, be aware, step out of the flow of traffic if possible. And you can always ask for a pose, but accept no as an answer again. Sometimes people can't bend that way, sometimes people don't know your ships, and sometimes people just don't want to pretend to kiss strangers. That's... It gets a little weird. But see, I could be positive. Compliments will always be accepted. Again, hotness level is not a compliment. This is more specifically cosplay related, if you recognize the character, it will make someone's day. Just like, "I see you, I've seen that series, it's good." If you don't know the character, ask. That's always a good question too. Ask about processed material sources. Where did you get that? Who made that? Did you make it yourself? Those are all things people in costume generally love to talk about. Interacting with fursuits. Fursuits are extremely limited. They have limited hearing, sight, mobility. Most fursuits only see about this much and about this wide. They have no peripheral vision, no top and bottom vision. So a fursuit cannot see you unless you are basically coming straight at it. So this means that the people outside of the fursuits need to be aware and move out of the way of the fursuit, because the fursuit is not going to see you to move. And there are collisions and there can be damages. So also, fursuit's eyes are not necessarily at the level of the actual person's eyes. So if a fursuit looks like it's looking at you, the person inside it might not be. So do not assume a fursuit can see you unless it actually reacts to you. And again, don't be offended if the suitor doesn't respond, because that, again, they probably haven't seen you or heard you or felt you tapping on the 3 inches of foam that are over their shoulders. Especially the full body suits, you are basically wearing a couch cushion covered in a carpet. And it is difficult to feel the hello tap through. Let's see. Right. Do not pet a fursuit without permission. Faux fur used in fursuits is not real fur. It is a thin plastic that is heat sensitive and mats easily. So your oily, sweaty human hands petting a suit over time will mat it to the point where it cannot be fixed. This is a function of faux fur. There are things you can do, don't worry. You can clean and maintain a suit, so it doesn't...
I set up for a joke, like I got mad.
But the properties of faux fur mean that excessive touching will damage a suit. Also, you don't know where the person is located in that 3 to 6 inches of foam. There are certain kinds of suits called dropped crotch suits. It makes them look more cartoony and animal-like, but the crotch is dropped, 6 to 12 inches down here, and that moves everything else lower. So if you go in for this belly rub, you might end up committing sexual assault. If that happens, it is not good. So one asks to be very careful. Pulling a tail or rubbing the ears can break stitching in those parts because the stitching is often under pressure. So in general, fursuits, just be aware of them and be careful around them and ask. Ask before touching. Yes. So handlers, if you are fursuiting, I highly recommend a handler. This is someone who is not in costume or is in a lower key costume. Like I could be a handler like this because I can move around. I can elbow through crowds if I need to. The handler is someone who is aware of the fursuiter. They know their needs. They make sure they get water. It is a good idea for handlers to have codes that the fursuiter can say. Like if they do this, that can mean I'm getting too hot, I need somewhere to cool down, something to show they need a drink. And that is, a handler's job is to make the fursuiter's life easier. They can also field questions from people that maybe the fursuiter doesn't see. So when I've had to be a handler for some of my friends in large costumes, because you run into this when you wear large costumes, the bigger the costume, the more people want your photo. And I can see someone asking for a photo that somebody else, the person in the costume, doesn't want, so I can also be the bad guy. If I'm a handler, it lets me be able to say, no, we have to go, and the fursuiter or whoever I'm handling for can just be the one smiling and happy and interacting with people, and I can be the one saying, no, stay back. How bad am I doing on time? Okay, not doing too bad. Gonna go a little fast on this. Wearing costume. Costumes, fursuits in general. Eat, drink, sit, walk, and pee unassisted. That peeing unassisted is really, really important. Not that I know from experience, except I absolutely know from experience. You want to be able to pee on system. Also, being able to go to the bathroom without getting completely naked is good bonus. Okay, violate.
Wait, can you go back?
I have a handout. I'm gonna go kind of fast through these because I'm running low on time.
Okay.
Let's see. Cosplay emergency kit. I do want to hit this because this is one of my personal things. And this works for fursuits too. Bring an emergency kit for something that breaks at convention. Because you never know when a thread's going to go, or you're going to run into somebody, or you're going to do something wild and you hear that and yeah, the bare minimum for me is safety pins, bobby pins, and super glue. That will get you through. If you have nothing else but that, I have been pinned into costumes before. I had about 13 yards of hand-dyed silk that came off from its base. We used about 50 safety pins and no one could tell. Especially with fur, you pin that together and nobody's going to tell the difference. We've got scissors, Sharpie, and hand sewing needles will get everything that the other three don't have. And honestly, this stuff is good to have on hand even if you don't costume, because clothes can have issues. Safety pins also double as badge pins. Bobby pins work for anything that is long that you would want to put back, like hair. Sewing kits are always in. And then, let's see, things to do. Con Suite is the area over there. I think I covered this with the food, but it's available for anyone. There are some snacky things in there. It is good to have, but it is not a meal. See, panels. So there are a lot of panels, and you are not going to be able to get to all of them. So the schedule is available online through sketch.com, I believe. And then we've also got paper schedules. You want to look through those, prioritize the ones that you must get to, and make sure you get to those early. Very popular panels at conventions can have long lines, and you might have to wait. Like San Diego Comic-Con. When I did San Diego Comic-Con, my friends waited overnight to get into a panel. Like, they did nothing but sit in a line. That is unique to San Diego Comic-Con because it's insane. But do expect, if it's a headliner, a guest of honor, something like that, do expect to get there early and wait to get in. So when you get to a panel, take off things that are large if you can. Turn off lights and sounds if you have them. If you can't take things off, do like our lovely fursuiter in the back. Stay to the back so your ears are not blocking people's view. If you just came from the dealer's den and you have 8 bags of stuff, so also stay to the back. I would recommend you staying with your stuff and not just piling it in the back. Some people do that. Some people also get their stuff stolen. But also, if you have a place where you can drop things off, if you're in a hotel room that isn't too hard to get to, drop it off before you get to the panel. It's okay. Let's see. Yes. You have permission to leave a panel. You have permission to leave anything. If you need an old person to tell you this, you have permission to leave for any reason, for no reason. You can just get up and leave. If I was not telling you information you thought was good, get up and leave. I am not going to notice, even with this few people. I'm concentrating on getting through my stuff. I'm not going to notice. It's okay. Don't get up and say, "You suck," and then walk out. That is not great. But if you get up quietly, you leave like you had to take a phone call. That's my 5 minutes. Okay, thank you. I'm not getting through this that fast. But anyway, you can leave. You can leave anything. You can leave a room party if you're feeling uncomfortable. You can leave a conversation if it makes you feel weird. You can leave because you're bored and you want to go walk around. You can leave because you're hungry. You can leave because someone texted you and you want to go grab a hot dog outside. You can leave. It's okay. You are here to have fun. If you are no longer enjoying where you are, get up and go somewhere else. I guarantee you, no one will care, and there's other things going on for you to enjoy. yes. So, if I'm saying something that you find problematic, if it is sort of fandom or factual related, I would save that until after the panel. Come grab me afterwards, talk to me in person. If you don't want to talk to me in person, talk to panel programming. The head of panel programming wants to know what you think. If I am terrible, if I didn't show up, if I showed up drunk. You think it doesn't happen? It does.
I wouldn't be surprised.
If I showed up drunk, that is something panel programming wants to know about. They do remember bad actors, and they try to keep them out of things like this. But if it's just factual, if I said it was the 3-2-1 rule instead of the 6-2-1 rule, that's not really something worth completely derailing the panel for. At least in general. Conventions also have a feedback form, and again, that would be something to put on the feedback form. If the problem is harassment based, if I was sitting up here saying that such and such people are awful people, such and such people shouldn't be here, and you felt comfortable calling it out, that would be an instance where stopping the panel and saying, hey, that's not acceptable, is in fact good practice. You don't have to, though, if you don't feel like you can take that kind of attention, then don't do it. It's okay. You can leave the panel. You can contact programming or security in this case. If this is harassment, if the panelist is just sort of picking on people or being otherwise not good in this way, that can be a security issue. So panel programming, security. I did talk to security for this slide, so they do want to know about harassment because the convention takes it very seriously. Vendors, dealers room, yes, artist alley. So vendors tend to be more high volume producers in the dealers area. So you'll find, and things that are not, they did not make themselves. Artist alley tends to be more single artists and handmade items. Let's see, what is my time? Okay. Yes. So especially for artists, do not assume they will have a card reader. Cash does not go down when the internet goes down, and we've got 10,000 people trying to use the internet at once here. The convention center in general has gotten a lot better about its internet. Like 6 or 7 years ago, everything was always down. They've done a lot to get better, but do not count on it. Relatedly, do not count on the cash machines in the convention center to have cash. They run out. Yes. Thank you very much. I'm going to go through this artist stuff, and then I will open up the floor for any questions you might have or anything else you want to know about. Commissions. Commissions are art that you tell someone to draw. They can be of your OC, they can be of some other character. You'll have to talk to each artist individually. Some people will do fan art, some people won't. Some people will do naughty stuff, some people won't. It just depends. What you should not do is comment on the artist's level of craft, comment on the artist's prices, comment on what the artist will or will not do. Again, this falls under letting people be happy and not giving them critique where it isn't asked for. Do not, let's see, there we go. Also, do not try to hook up with an artist or someone working at the dealer's den while they are working. You might not be a creeper, but this is totally creeper behavior. They are in customer service mode. They don't want to make you unhappy. They are not able to tell you they don't want to date you. So asking them out while they're working is a very bad thing. All right, let's see, have cash, provide contact numbers, reference sheets. My artist friends specifically wanted that slide on there. They had some stories. But at this point, I think I've hit all of my high spots, really, because we've got Artist Alley, we've got health. Is there anything else you guys wanted to know about? I've got about 15 minutes before I have to get her out of here. Questions, comments? What is that thing that I just saw that you walked by?
So are you, where do I get the paper you mentioned?
Handouts I have up here. I will hand them out at the end.
Okay.
I am a librarian in my real life, so I have informational handouts. It's a librarian thing. All right, I can keep going. Yes.
Let's just say you are going to cosplay an anime character for a convention and not everyone's into anime. And let's just say people are like, hey, stop bringing anime into a furry convention. What do you do?
So what do you do if somebody is telling you shouldn't be cosplaying a character here?
It's not the right time. It's not the right
There's not a lot you can do when receiving negative feedback like that. I would say don't escalate. Just leave if you can. Walk away. Try not to be snide back. Be snide at your friends. If you need to vent, talk to your friends. People are gonna be dumb. That's if everybody minded their own business and did not offer critique where it was not wanted, I wouldn't have to have the slides up there. And it hurts. It does hurt when you get it, and that feeling is real. But the best you can do is try not to let it ruin the rest of your convention. Talk to your friends. Remember that you put work into this costume and you look good in it. That's why you're wearing it. And honestly, those guys are big stinky heads anyway. If they told you that.
Just in case, because my anxiety is I run through every single scenario, or I run through a scenario where an asteroid hits the convention and aliens not.
That's fair. That's fair. So I do have some stuff about dances and things. This is basically just more taking care of yourself. I've got a little bit on safety in here if you want. But if you are going to dances and things, have a buddy. If you don't have a buddy, have a contact person. They don't have to be the person, someone who's here at the convention. It's just someone you can text your location to and check in with them and about how long you're going to be there. So if you get abducted by aliens, there is someone who knows where you were supposed to be, and they can tell the police, she was here until X time. Let's see. Also listen to your gut. If it feels weird, leave. Like, your subconscious is more in touch with things than your consciousness is. If you're getting wigged out about something, about some person, you don't have to have any more reason than that. And you don't have to tell them, you're wigging me out. You can just say, I have to go now. You can pretend to get a phone call. You can say, oh, I'm sorry, my blood sugar's dropping, I have to go eat. Just, you do not have to stay if you're starting to feel weird. Let's see. We have meets. That's right, because there are a lot of meets. In general, when you're meeting strangers for the first time, you don't want to get into politics, religion, things like that. Keeping conversation topics pretty general until you get to know people better is a good idea. Be friendly. Don't assume people remember you. Like, if you were at a meet 2 hours ago, don't assume somebody else remembers you from there. That's why we're all labeled for each other's convenience. And just, let's see, yes, accept a no again. Not everybody wants to be friends, even if they're showing up to a meet. If they are acting like they want to get away from you, they've got their weight on the back foot, they're kind of turned away, arms are together like this, they are not wanting to be in that conversation. Acknowledge that. Let them get away, find someone else. Guarantee you there will be someone else who wants to be your friend here. Let's see, safety. Yes. That is my picture of security. Those are security vests. If you see someone in that vest, you can go to them for help. You can go to them for any kind of help. So if you get lost or separated from your group, if your cell phone dies and you don't know where to go, security would be your first stop. If you can't find security, find anyone else in a vest, and hopefully they can point you to the right direction. ConOps is convention operations. That is the brain of the convention organizers. If you get lost, you can go there. They will be able to help you find your people. We've got information desks this year, which is really cool. And they're mostly, how do I get places, but if you are lost, if you are in trouble, they will know who to contact. They will have a walkie-talkie that they can get in contact with people with. And if you can't find that, then ask a convention goer. Even like if somebody came up to me and said, I'm lost, I need help, can you get me to ConOps? I would do it. It's just, this convention in particular is really friendly. I would not be too worried about asking people for help if you need it. But first order of business is security, regular convention staff, information desk, ConOps. Let's see, and apparently that is it. I thought I had another slide. All right. That concludes most of what I wanted to talk about. Is there anything else? What I really want to do is a panel on just safety, like what to do when stuff hits the fan. Especially when the general consensus is that everyone here is of drinking age, and I know that's tough when not everyone here is drinking age. And I have not found a lot of good resources for that. Like, there's some bystander intervention training ideas where if you see something going on, like harassment, bullying going on at the convention, the main ideas are to call security first, record if security is not immediately available. You're not recording to put them on blast on social media, you are recording to give evidence to security and or the police because you watched something bad happen.
I think you should go straight to the police is my thought.
First step is I talked to security about this.
If you have raised it before,
I did talk to security about this, and their recommendation is to go to them first because a lot of the stuff that happens here, they are more equipped to deal with quickly. The police coming out, they have to get here, there'll be other things going on. Security also works with Rosemont Police.
Okay.
So if it's something that they need to escalate, they have extra avenues to escalate it. Security also works with medical. So medical emergencies, again, contact security, they will contact medicine. If the medic department can't, if it's above their pay grade, basically, they will contact whoever needs to come out here. And they do have like first responders offhand. The things that happen at conventions are well known, especially here in Rosemont. Conventions are what Rosemont does. But if you see something and you want to do something, the best information I found was to distract the attacker, the person doing the bullying, so the victim can get away. And this is just derailing the conversation. Like, can I get you to stand up here for a minute? If I am haranguing you, blah 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 blah, mean, evil, and you see something, if you would come up here, come over to kind of my back here, tap me on the shoulder. Not quite that, but ask me a random question, like where's the nearest bathroom, where's a good place to eat, something that is completely different
Have I seen you on social media lately?
Exactly. Yes. And basically, hold on, not basically the idea is to derail their chain of thought so that they're distracted and the other person can get away. That would be a good question. But that is the panel that I want to put together. Yeah. Anyway, if you want my informational handout, it is my 17-page outline.
Thank you.
Yes.
Could just compile this
Another paper first, but I would like.
Sure. All right. Well, thank you for showing up and living through my terrible slides.
That was good.
Silver Gatoman, he bought me a coffee. Silver Gatoman, here is the song for thee. He likes to video all the panels at the cons. You should go and watch them whether they are short or long. Silver Gatoman, you video that's not a jibe. All of you go to his YouTube channel and like and subscribe.